I sit out in front of the First Presbyterian Church of Corning. It's on the corner of First and Pine Street. Big old Presbyterian church, very, very neat looking church. I went in and saw the auditorium and sort of dead acoustics in there. Hopefully that's all that's dead, but I'll save that for another video. But I got to see a dear old saint of God. His name is Pastor Grist, and he pastors the church called Young Hickory Baptist Church, and just around in Troopsburg, New York. And he's a friend of my, well, he's an acquaintance from long ago that I really didn't know, but he made the connection with me and made me aware of the fact that he's familiar with my family and all. So it was really cool meeting him. And we got to talk about old preachers from the area and old stories he mentioned. So hopefully I'll be able to track down Pastor Grist and put him on the YouTube here, and great stories just like my friend Wax Sleeptoe did with the fella that he spoke with. And so hopefully I'll be able to do that. Well, here's the thing though. This video is actually about when I was in this church here. They had a big old RSV Bible sitting there. RSV book, I should say. RSV, Revised Standard Version. I get around those things, and it's sort of like Dracula around a cross, All right, but I got one question for you. One for you to ponder, one for you to consider, one for you to not reason amongst yourselves about, but just ask the Lord about it, okay? Here's the question. Okay, well, first, I got to start it this way. We got to admit, of course, who is it? Let's talk about, verses that are removed okay. See, I'm going to make this little video sometime where I mention about, how the arguments about the Bible are reversible. The versions compared to God's actual word. All right, so the argument's always reversible. Here's one reversible thing, okay? So actually, I guess we're starting that video series kind of here. Some people say that verses are removed from versions. And some people say that verses were added to God's word. All right? When I speak of God's word, you know what I'm talking about, right? King James Bible. Okay, but you're going, now you're not going to hear the question, okay? Because you're freaking out and you're trying to think of something that you're going to write. All right? Now just listen, calm down, be still. Let's just come to agreement on one thing, okay? Can we come to agreement on one thing here? If, whether it was added or removed, hear this question. Who's at the heart of this removal or this addition? Give you 5 seconds. Time's up. Okay, it wasn't 5 seconds. I think you know the answer, so we're not going to go there. It's Satan, right? Okay, so Satan. So anyways, I'm inside this church here, and I'm looking at that RSV, and Acts 8:37 was missing. Acts 8:37. This is one of the things the Lord showed me a while back, some time back, when I was looking at a New World Translation of some Jehovah's Witness guy that came to my house and thought he'd, talk to me about that stuff, whatever. And I looked at his version, the New World Translation, and it was missing this verse, 8:37. And Philip said, If thou believest with all thine heart, thou mayest. And he answered and said, I believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Ask the Lord. Now, here's the question. Well, we already answered one. Would Satan want that verse added, or would he want that verse removed? Once again, Acts 8:37. Look it up in whatever you call a Bible. See if it's there. And then once again, here's the question. Would Satan want that verse added, or would he want that verse removed? And I thank you for watching.